Good evening. Welcome to the Sunday Pub. If you've never been here before, the Sunday Pub is a bookish hangout that I host every Sunday, or just about every Sunday anyway. And there's a nice little group of regulars who are probably in the chat. Say hi if you're here. I started slightly late. Sorry about that. Once again, I ordered food and it took forever to get here and got here just before I wanted to start. So I had to eat something quickly. How are you doing? I'm going to check YouTube because I am not seeing any comments. And we've had this before. And it's annoying, but it happens. If I look in the YouTube and I see comments, yeah, I see comments on YouTube. No, okay. Now they've come through in Restream. I think it just takes a little while for them to load in. Hi, Ida. Good to see you. Hello, Aaron. Whoops. Aaron. Hi, Jerome. As I said, usual suspects. Colton. Terry's here. John's here. Ron's here. Yeah. What's on the menu? So I had Loco Chicken. This is not sponsored. It's fried chicken and chips or fries, as you Americans would say. Oh, thank you, Evie. I still have the birthday pub up instead of the Sunday pub. Yep. Thanks for that. For those of you who hate me and did not turn up, I had a birthday pub stream. It was my birthday earlier this week. And that is why it was there. Anita is not here, thank God. She is apparently napping. Thank you, Terry. Thornell, sorry. I was joking about hating me. I know you don't. Hi, Peter. Cara, we are not talking about Dragonsteel. All of those assholes who are at Dragonsteel can just go to hell. No, I'm kidding. I am super jealous of them as well. I don't give a damn at all about Brandon Sanderson, really. I didn't read his last Stormlight book. I probably won't be reading his new Stormlight book anytime soon. But I would like to meet all of these booktubers who are there. And I would like to meet some of the authors. Like Kyle has posted photos of having a chat with Robin Hobb and hanging around with Durfee and so on and so forth. And that is something I'm jealous of, for sure. Yes. Hello, all you lovely people. I finished City of Lost Chances this morning. Yes, finally. I am now reading The Word for World is Forest, which is only a novella. I wanted something totally different than City of Lost Chances, with a more straightforward kind of narrative and a completely different genre and a completely different author. I've been reading a lot of Tchaikovsky lately, and I just wanted to change, but it's a really easy change. I started it a couple hours ago and I'm already halfway through. I'll probably finish it tonight while we do sprints. So yeah. Yes, people meeting Robin Hobb made me rather envious as well. Erin, actually, Los Pollos Hermanos, it is what I think of whenever I order Loco Chicken. Because it has a logo that's sort of like a humanized, anthropomorphized chicken. And it totally, every time I order, I think of Los Pollos Hermanos. So yes, good reference there. Yeah, meeting Hob would be so cool. The cool thing with Hob is this is all like secondhand news from Kyle, who's posting it on the Discord. She has said that she has 3 or 4 novels kind of in the works, and 2 of them are elderlings. So that's pretty serious. I'm pretty, yeah. Robin Hobb is not a spring chicken anymore. She is 72. Yeah. Yeah, she must be in her 60s now. No, she is well out of her 60s, but still looks pretty healthy, which is good. We want her to keep writing as long as possible. And apparently she's got 4 books ready, or ready-ish, almost ready, and 2 of them are elderlings. Sorry, I keep doing that. It's residual food, I guess. Yeah, she doesn't look 72. I would say she looks more like she's in her 60s. I'd guess her at about 10 years younger than she apparently is. But yeah. She is an amazing author, and I am so looking forward to more Elderlings books. But I still have to finish Realm of the Elderlings. I'm doing a reread slowly. Next up is Rainwild Chronicles, which I'm really looking forward to, even though some people seem to be kind of down on it. I have read it before, and I remember liking it a lot because it makes a lot of the interesting world building stuff clearer. There are some really interesting revelations about magic and dragons in the past and all that kind of stuff. And then the last trilogy, I haven't read. And I haven't read ever. And I'm looking forward to getting to those eventually. And then more Elderlings books. I'm interested where they're going to fit in, whether this is like after, or maybe it's a prequel, or maybe it fits in the middle somewhere, or who knows. Yes, Robin Hobb's brightly young good looks probably are due to her cottagecore lifestyle. Look who it is. It's Evie. Tell us about Max. I've heard he's doing good.
He is doing great.
Excellent.
I don't know if you can see George there too, but
hanging out.
She is very. Oh, there she is. Yep, you can kind of see her.
Yeah, I can see her. Cool.
She's very happy about Max being home as well.
We are all very happy about Max being home. Excellent. Excellent.
He's back to being himself. He's yelling at everyone and being a general pain in my butt. So
perfect. That's what you pay the big money at the veterinarian for.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, glad he's recovered.
So I have to make sure he's not getting the other cat's food.
Indeed. Such a good boy.
He's a good boy.
I can't. Have you read Dogs of War?
No.
Okay.
I have not.
But
I do know that Rex is a good boy.
The first line in the book is, "My name is Rex, and I am a good dog."
Yeah, I would like to finish Days of Shattered Faith, and I before I start any other Tchaikovsky, other than obviously whatever Tyrant Philosopher's books come out, I need to read Shadows of the Apt. Otherwise, Anitha and Pete are gonna kill me. So they're gonna put a hit out on me.
But they're the only ones who are going to kill you because no one else has ever read it.
Mike has.
Mike read it?
Yeah, Mindolin.
Oh, Mindelin's read everything. No, he doesn't count.
True. I think Kyle read it? Question mark.
Yeah, I think Kyle's read it, or at least some of it. Yeah.
And Alan's through book 4 or 5 now. I think.
I switched over to Angry Le Guin. My goodness, she's she has some ecological statements to make. Yeah, I like that cover better. That is a nicer cover.
Oh, I just opened this up. The font is quite
really
large,
big.
and
Yeah.
the margins are great. Hold on, I gotta go yell at a dog.
Do it. Yeah, see, this is proving like even Anitha is having a hard time thinking of more than a couple names. Yeah, Daniel read the first 4. Kyle's 2 books in.
Oh, okay.
Terry's
I don't know
4
why I
books
thought
in.
Kyle had read them, but
Yeah.
yeah, Genghis Khan and Tanner read them.
Yeah, I like that cover better. It's funny because yours looks like a big book, and this is tiny. It's 113 pages.
This is 189.
Yeah, it's very generously typeset.
Yeah, but like
Very.
even like the bottom, like it
Yeah.
doesn't even take up the full page. It's like
Yeah, huge bottom margins and yeah.
the line spacing is
Yeah.
generous.
Yeah. Generous margins, all of that. Trying to beef it out and make it look like it's not actually a really tiny novella, which it is. Yeah, it's a very small book. Yeah, Mad at the Vietnam War and the deforestation of the Sierra Nevadas. It comes across really quickly because basically the bad guys are military, kind of working for corporate interests in a way, and it's ruining an entire planet. And she's very angry about it. And she writes really good when she's angry. I like it. Yes, that's true, Ida. I actually miss books that have reasonable margins, and they're not like usually what they're trying to do is save on paper and get the book within a certain number of pages for budget reasons. And in that case, they're trying to make a novella, which they know will sell well, look like a bigger book. Yeah, no, she actually said that the Hainish cycle doesn't really have an order, but the writing order, pub order, was Worlds of Exile and Illusion was first, which is Rakennen's World and a couple others. And then I think she said this second, and then Dispossessed and Left-Handed Darkness, which are all, they're not connected stories, but they're all in the same universe.
I will say, just kind of responding to Daniel, because he seems concerned that I won't like Shadows of the Apt. So, 2 things. Tchaikovsky's already a trusted author for me, so that he has that going for him for Shadows of the Apt. And 2, I've been pretty vocal about how Tchaikovsky is the one author that makes me like I genuinely have fun with his books. Like it's not just fun, but like it's the most fun that I've had like reading his books, if that makes sense.
And a lot of his books are hilarious. I mean, especially the Tyrant Philosophers. There is so much humor in there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's also horror and devastation and epic shit and whatever, but
and
tons of
theology
humor.
and religiosity going on. It's great.
Yeah,
He combines it all. So I have faith and hope. I think again the kind of the established trust that I have in Tchaikovsky as a writer does like 99% of the work, and I'm just there for whatever story he tells. So
yeah, I'm at the point where I'm like, I'm gonna like what he writes. You know, I found City of Lost Chances very, very difficult to get a flow in.
I took it very slow.
Yeah, just because it jumps like every chapter to a different character, and not a small group of them. Like Song of Ice and Fire is comparatively small group of characters it's jumping between, whereas Tchaikovsky's chapters are quite short, and every chapter is a different character, and it's jumping between like 20 or more characters.
And the thing that one of the things that I love about Time of Philosophers is that, like, even though the chapters are so short and you're jumping perspectives, like, you immediately, like, from the first chapter you meet Yasnik, like, I immediately connected with him as a character. Whether you like him or not, I think he really establishes characters very quickly and in so short a time, and he uses that time very wisely and succinctly. And it's really good. Oh God.
I kind of vaguely had Tyrant Philosophers on my TBR for a longer period of time, but when Tchaikovsky was in Berlin and he did a reading, and the reading was the first couple of pages of City of Lost Chances, which is Yasnik and God complaining about how cold it is. And I immediately walked out to the foyer where they had a shop, bought a copy of City of Lost Chances so that he could sign it, even though I already had one on my shelf, because I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm going to love this book. And I was right. I did. I finished it this morning. Like I said, I had a hard time. I've been distracted with my other channel and playing video games a lot because of it. So I haven't been reading much. But I've just sort of every day been reading like 2 or 3 of these short chapters. And then today I was like, I don't want to do another pub thumbnail with me holding City of Lost Chances. It's getting embarrassing. I'm just going to finish it this morning.
Well, I mean,
I just sat down with my coffee and
to give you like to I don't know, defend you taking it slow. Like, I think if I had binged City of Lost Chances, or even House of Open Wounds, or now even Days of Shattered Faith, like, it's not something that's like dense to where you have to read it slow. It's something that I really love relishing. So I loved taking it in, bite-sized chunks, chapter by chapter.
I have to show off because I love me some pretty books.
Yeah.
And
that's the Goldsboro one. Nice.
That's the Goldsboro edition, which has just got yellow and yellow, but then on the outside edge, it's got pictures, and it's got a Tchaikovsky scribble, although it doesn't have a picture. So apparently when he's doing his mass signings,
he just does his name.
He just signs, but when he's signing for someone, he does a little scribble, which is kind of relevant to the book. So my Shards of Earth has a little scribble of an architect on it, which is cool.
For example.
Exactly. Yours is
a little gun.
That it took me a while. Like when I opened it up, I was like, what the hell? That's not his signature, is it? And then I looked at mine and I was like, oh, there's an architect in mine. So I guess that's a gun. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. The edges are quite cool. It's like the stuff that's on the
cover. Yeah.
Anita,
the link is in Matt's in the fireside. If you go to his specific channel on the Discord and go to the threads, the Sunday Pub thread, the link is there.
Or I can just send it to you, Anita, if you would like to.
Don't enable her. She can do it herself.
That's true. Don't be a lazy bitch, Anita. Go to my channel, go to the thread, Sunday Pub, and find the link yourself, like everybody else who ever joined.
I'm joking, by the way.
Yeah, me too. I mean, kind of. Mostly. Yeah, Aslan, it was, I mean, partially it was just that I was using a lot of my free time for other things, but I think it was also just a book that kind of wanted to be read a bit slower. Like Final Architecture, like I could sit down with the Final Architecture, any of the books, and just read for like 3 hours straight and no problem. It would just boom, boom, boom. There was constantly stuff going on. But this changing around, and also I find Ilmar, the city that it's set in, extremely dense as far as world building goes. Not in a bad way. It's just like he had so many ideas that he packed into that city, that it was a little overwhelming. And I say this as a Malazan fan, you know. There was a lot of stuff going on. I've still got dinner in my beard, I think. Yeah. Thornall, do you have a date when hell freezes over? No, I don't.
Is the Drift books, is that the R.A. Salvatore series?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, and luckily I already have House of Open Wounds because awesome viewer Sam sent it to me, Sam from Hamburg. But I wanted a break. So I'm doing a very little. I mean, this is like a 5-hour read, really, not even maybe. I'm already halfway through it, and I started a couple hours ago. But I'm thinking I might also then go on to the Dispossessed and leave it.
I also have that one.
Yeah. I have World for World as Forest, Dispossessed, Hand of Darkness, and of course the entire Earthsea bind up. Colton, I am sorry to hear that. Mine has also been not so great. Depression, that is. I was actually thinking about skipping the pub tonight.
No!
But then I thought, actually, that's
counterproductive.
Well, and also if you deal with depression for a number of years, eventually, or at least my particular kind of depression, you notice that two things. On the one side, you've got, I don't want to talk to people. On the other side, you've got, when I talk to people, I feel better. And they kind of compete with each other, obviously. But if you get better at just like powering through the I don't want to talk to people, then you talk to people and feel better. So that's why I decided, no, I'm not going to listen to the Black Dog this time. I'm going to actually run the pub.
I'm ready, Matt, by the way.
Tad the Chad.
We're still starting doing that in January, right?
Yeah. Minton is doing a big oh no, I'm sorry. That's the other one. That's Josh. Josh is
I thought you were joining that too.
I am joining that when you get to the first book of To Green Angel Tower because I started early.
Oh.
Yeah, and then I got up to Green Angel Tower. I got a bit into the first book, and I was like, I need a break. I like Tad, I like the world, I like the story, but I just need something different. So I stopped and then said, okay, I'm just going to wait for the read along to catch up with me, and then I'll join from there, and I'll be reading my new Broken Binding editions, which aren't here yet for Green Angel Tower, but they will be by then. Yeah.
Colton, need the backstage, by the way. I just want to make sure because I sent her the link.
Yeah. Dun, dun. I felt it was appropriate to make Anitha wait for a little while. That's all.
I guessed it, so I
can... I think your mic is off.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Better.
Okay. I guessed you were making me wait, so I was like, okay, let's see how long you will make me wait. Anyway, I want to show off my edition. Evie sent me this, and
Evie's awesome.
I started book 5, that short story collection, Tales from Earthsea.
Oh, you did? Nice.
I did. Yes, but since you started Belly of the Bow, I have to come back to the Belly of the Bow now. And
Is Anitha, before you put it away, take the dust jacket off of that Earthsea. What's it look like underneath? Because I've got
oh,
one which I
it's
think is
plain, just Ursula
okay.
K. Le Guin written in
Okay,
this.
so I've got basically exactly the same edition as far as the contents. It's got the same illustrations, everything, except it doesn't have a dust jacket at all, and it's
Oh,
blue, and it has a gold foil debossed dragon on it with Tales of Earthsea or something on it.
okay. And
It
these
just
two,
looks a bit different.
I just got the other day, like couple of days back.
There
So
you
I'll
go.
be reading these two next. I think I'm planning to finish Tales from Earthsea this month and the final book in Earthsea early January, and then these two later after that.
I'd just like to take a moment and say happy birthday to Bex.
Happy birthday,
Thanks
Bex.
for joining us on your birthday, Bex. It's been a pleasure having you quite regularly in the pub, and the pub was my birthday party as well. So I can hardly recommend it because my birthday pub was awesome. It was really nice. No, Colton. I would totally be down for reading Feet of Clay sooner rather than later. I'm fine with that. We were talking about it in the Discord, and he was like, I've got other plans, and maybe we read it next year or whatever. But I'd be down for Feet of Clay like soon. Let's talk about it later on the Discord.
Anitha, you're gonna make K Fox so happy with your
I did
Earthsea.
not tell her because I started this one already twice this year. Both the times I was like, it is too dark for me, and I was slump and I stopped. I was like, okay, let's finish at least story one and then tell her.
So have you finished the first story? Or are you still in the
No,
midst of it? Okay.
no, I'm still in the beginning.
Run's
You know,
Run's got a good point. I always think of certain books as table required
agree.
books. You know, like I'm not going to read this without having a table under it. Like my all bound up in one Lord of the Rings leather edition, which is just like it would kill you if you dropped it on your head. So
I totally agree with that, Ron. That's why I stopped first two times, and this time also I actually held a copy, library copy, but it is taking forever to come.
yeah, it's a seriously big book. I would like to get back to those because I read Earthsea. I don't think I read all of them, but I read some of Earthsea like a million years ago. And it's just been too long. And I'm already like just in this, I'm already like, oh, that's right. Le Guin actually writes really good.
Yeah.
She's quite an author. So
Legwin is the one who made me appreciate themes in books actually. In Earthsea only I started observing and liking themes. I mean, I am still a character driven reader. Mainly I want a good characters to like a book. But in Earthsea, at least book one Wizard of Earthsea, I did not like any of the characters, but I really liked her approach to the story and themes she explored. So I continued, and I loved book two Toms Up at one hand. I did not stop myself then. Book Toms Up at one and Tehanu are like my all-time favorites. Very.
she's she does she like I think a lot of authors might write a novel if they have a nice idea for a story and some interesting characters. I don't think she ever wrote anything without having a big idea theme in mind first. You know, like she's always her themes are really out there.
Yeah.
You know, they're very on the surface. They're also very deep, but they're very on the surface, noticeable. Yeah.
Unrelated to Le Guin, how mad should I make you, Anitha? Or do you want me to make you mad?
It's not that hard.
Okay, which chapter are you in?
I am almost finished with chapter 3. page 70 specifically.
Which book are you both talking about?
Oh, Belly of the Bow by KJ Parker.
Right.
This is book 2 in Fencer trilogy. So
What's the
these are
fencer doing fencing with a bow?
I know, right?
okay. This book 2 we don't see fencing at all. Book 1 we have seen a lot.
And book 2 is about archery.
Yes, mostly actually making of bows.
Oh, I should read it. I have made a bow, and archery is one of my hobbies.
Oh,
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
if you are into making stuff, actually, you should read Parker. In
I
every
read-
book of his, we learn something to make.
Yeah, I know how to make a bow already. The only short story I've read of his, and I forget the name of the short story, but it was in the Swords and Dark Magic collection. And he has a short story in there which is about a blacksmith and a noble kid who wants the blacksmith to make a sword for him.
Oh, yeah, best man wins. Best man wins.
Best man wins. That's the story, and it was an awesome story. Like, that was my taste test for KJ Parker, and I was like, okay, if he writes a short story this good, I definitely need to get to some of his novels. So, yeah, I haven't quite gotten there yet. So I'm very grateful that you come down from on high and accept my meager existence, and that you will actually talk to me, Anitha. As a non-KJ Parker reader.
K2U3, I maybe you're talking about Paducah series, which Alan is hosting a read along next year from
Boudica.
what is the month after March? April, May, June, July.
Are you new here to this world, Anitha?
Listen, I don't know
Sweet.
how days work, how months work, how times work. So I get it. Like,
I'm
Anitha and I
50.
are-
I'm 56 now, and when I want to know the number of a month, I still have to use my fingers.
Same.
I still go
Same.
January, February, March, April, May. Okay, May 5. Right. I just never got saved in my hard drive somehow. Boudica. Yeah.
To answer Robin's question, Max from earlier, Max is doing great. So it is amazing the medical care he received at the vet hospital, and he's back to his
Every
old
time you
self,
talk
yelling at
about
everybody.
Max, I am touching wood actually. It's like-
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So.
No, you missed it, Rabin, but she actually showed Max on camera, and he was standing around looking maxy like he always did. So he seems to be doing well, which is great.
And George is happy about seeing Max again. She keeps, every time he comes into the office, she's like sniffing at him like, oh, Max is here. I didn't see you forever.
That's so nice.
Yeah. I'm already starting to feel pre-guilt because, first of all, next weekend there will be no pub because I will be away all weekend, which means I'm leaving Fitz in the flat.
Are you going to another castle to play video games or board games?
You're leaving
Board
Fizz
games
and
and role-playing
going.
games. Yeah.
You're
not-
leaving
not-
Fizz. Are pets
I'm-
not allowed in that board gaming thing?
I'm yeah, no, bringing Fitz to the mansion would be questionable. I think she would rather stay home, to be honest. But I've got a nice lady who has done cat sitting before, and Fitz loves her, and she loves Fitz, and she sends me cute Fitz photos every day. And Fitz will have someone to play with her, someone to pet her, someone to feed her, all of that.
Does she stay at the house with Fitz
No.
like all day, or just drops
No.
in to say hi?
She is also my cleaning lady, and she lives 5 buildings from here. We found each other. I found her online totally coincidentally. Like, when we were like, yeah, we could do this. I asked her, where do you live? And she said her address. And I was like, that's my address plus 6. Where you live in the same street as me? She's like, wow, that's a coincidence. So yeah, she lives just down the street. She can come down anytime. She comes down in the morning, in the evening. She stays for an hour and a half, plays with Fitz, hangs out
Cleans
with
her
her a
litter
bit,
box,
cleans her
feeds
litter
her.
box, feeds her,
That's nice.
and yeah, exactly.
Is it like a friendly exchange of favors, or do you have to pay?
Oh no, I'm paying her.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think I do anything that she would want. So, like,
Host a Sunday pub for her, one day. It's cute.
yeah, I don't know if that'd really be her thing. Not so sure. I could probably help her out with a website, but I actually hate helping people with websites because it's like, it's the kind of work I did 30 years ago. And I've done a lot of that kind of work for friends. And at some point I was like, I'm not doing it for friends anymore. I want a really clear money
Yeah.
relationship.
I don't advise.
I don't
I'm
want to mess
that.
around with like the image of your business, and I'm not taking it seriously because you're not fucking paying me, you know? And I also don't want to hear you change your mind 20 times until I hate you. Clients can do that because they're paying me for that time. But yeah, no, I don't do
Ruined.
I don't do friend design work anymore.
Also, when it comes to, when we finish like half of the work or 75% of the work, when we have to sit down and discuss how to finish or how it's done, the tone of the dialogue between us changes. Without even realizing, that person becomes the client, even though they're paying us, not paying us
Yeah.
actually. And we don't like that, actually. At least I don't like it.
Yeah. What do you do work-wise, Anita?
Software. I work.
A programmer.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So I should cancel my, I shouldn't ask you guys Anitha to program my website and Matt Fee to do my graphic design for my website. Got it. Cool. Gonna
Don't do that.
rescind that question I was gonna ask. Just
Yep.
ask.
Don't do that. Yep. No, I've gotten good at saying no to friends. I always say, I like you far too much to work with you.
Yeah.
I still work with some of my friends, but we have a clear dialogue from the beginning, and there is payment involved for the work and effort
Yeah.
I'm putting in.
So
Yeah.
it's not for friends. It's a job.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm also friends with people I work with or work for, but like do it on the side as a friend. No more. Did that for a while, almost lost one of my best friends. Luckily, he was really understanding when I got to the point where I was like, dude, I don't think we should keep doing this because your friendship is more important to me than your work. And let's stay friends, and you find someone else and you actually give them money. Yeah.
And the worst part is finding that someone else, finding us some, oh my God, I can't frame the sentence. Finding that person for them, referring somebody else for them. That is worst part in my book, actually. Because whenever
Yeah.
there is a problem between themselves, they come to us and
Yeah.
we'll be stuck in the middle.
It's always a risk recommending somebody that does what you do. I have a really a really horrible story where that went very, very wrong with some friends of mine. I had a friend who was kind of a genius in 3D animation. And although he lived in Australia, he got hired by James Cameron. And he moved to LA, Venice Beach, and worked at Digital Domain. He worked on Titanic. He worked on Fifth Element. He worked on all of these amazing things. And he vouched for another friend of ours from Australia to come over and work for Digital Domain as well. And that friend totally fucked everything up.
Oh,
He
no.
did his job horribly. He turned up late every day. He just couldn't get his shit together. And of course, then the original friend, the one who's really good, looks really bad to everybody at work because they're like,
you referred this guy.
Why'd you recommend this guy? He's a loser. He's like, yeah, he's a good friend, and I was hoping he would rise to the occasion, and He
Oh
didn't.
my god, this friend, knowing that he's a loser, recommended that person.
I mean, he had done the friend who was recommended had done some 3D. He wasn't bad. Personality wise, I would never would have recommended him for any job because he was like a hardcore stoner. He was always late. He was, he wasn't a dependable personality, but he had done some work and maybe could have, if he had applied himself, I think he could have done the job quite well. But yeah, wasn't good.
Anyways, on that note, do y'all want to read? Because I would love to
Why don't we
make
sprint?
Anita even more mad with how much I'm going to read A Belly of the Bow.
Are you way ahead of her? Is that what's going on? Or
She's
so.
one less than one chapter behind me, but I started 1 week earlier than her.
Okay. So it's a race now. Like she's catching up. If you don't read enough, she's going to overtake you.
Today, that will happen today, and we'll never talk again. Actually, I know this is last night. I saw the message, her update with spoiler tags in the show. I was like, very. Did I see that last night or this morning? Anyway, I woke up with very bad mood. Actually, I was like, okay, from today onwards, I'm not going to.
This is why I'm so mad.
From today onwards, I'm not going to talk to Evie. I was like very serious and I was very determined about that. But then she won't leave me alone. She messages me and says something so sweet. I was like, I can't be angry with this girl. I was like,
Evie's too nice to hate. Damn it.
yeah, I know, right?
Oh, yeah, we knew that.
I'm so confused now. I don't know whether to be grateful to her for being my friend or to let her scream at her.
Why not both? So
yeah, I think you could do both. I think that's fine.
Okay.
Friends do everything.
DK Moon to I mean, I saw your comment that you DNF'd Folding Knife because it doesn't have magic. I see that actually most of his books KJ Parker books read like historical fiction and go deep into making of things because he has a lot of skills. Actually, he makes bows. He is into so many hobbies, and he explores how human nature in deep. Actually, like there are no like good people and evil people. Every person is capable of doing evil, and he goes deep into philosophy of love. Actually, like how love can ruin people and beyond people too. So I do understand, but Fencer trilogy does have magic, but it is I mean it made me realize why he doesn't write magic systems at all, because it is so convoluted. I can't even explain what is the magic system is actually after reading book 1. Now we are into book 2. I can give you details. We don't even understand. The characters in this book, I mean, there is a magic school. There is a big head of that school. Actually, the person who is supposed to know everything about magic, who keeps teaching that he denies that this is not magic. This is only philosophy. It is so convoluted. I mean, I love that. At the same time, I don't understand anything.
I think, Anita, it was you that said during the chat of the first book to say, no wonder he stopped writing magic into his books because of this. Because this was his first series as KJ Parker.
Yeah.
So is it a clearly defined magic system that he's trying to actually explain and it's very convoluted, or is it more like a not very well defined and it's confusing?
No, I think he knows what he's doing. We still did not reach that point. I think so. I am hoping so, actually.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah, because I actually much prefer magic systems that are never completely explained. Like magic that's
like
explained as science.
Yeah, magic should be magical.
Yeah, exactly. There should be some mystery to it. Like it's one of the things. I mean, other than him being a kind of average writer, it's one of the things I don't really like about Sanderson very much. Is like his magic feels like I'm getting a science lecture every time he starts explaining it, and it just drives me nuts. Anyway, why don't we read until actually not 15 past? Let's make it 20 past.
Okay.
Since Anitha couldn't shut up.
I mean,
I want to
started saying
continue, but
something.
I'll shut up and chat in the chat. Actually.
And mute yourselves as well, please. And just in time for sprints, Tori's here.
Hello.
Say hello and then mute yourself because we are
Hey,
sprinting.
Tori. Oh,
Hello.
what are you reading, Tori? I'm not supposed to say more than hello, but I'm taking big risk here.
Everybody hold up their book. All right.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Fantastic.
Cool. Enjoy your reading, everyone. Hello.
Hello.
I have to ask, Tori, Malazan, how is it?
It's so good. It's so good. I put it off for a long time, partially because there's always that fear, like it's been so long since I've read this. It's going to be a different experience. Am I still going to like it? And I'm just having a phenomenal time and being reminded why this is my favorite fantasy book ever. So I'm having a great time. I'm almost halfway through.
And you haven't read all of them yet.
Nope.
Wait till you get to Bone Hunters before you say it's your favorite fantasy
I
book
won't.
ever.
At this point, it's Deadhouse Gates' throne to lose. We'll see. But I think at this point, the nostalgia is going to be the hardest part to beat.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, this is like your third time reading that? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the last two times were like 12 and 10 years ago. So yeah. It's so good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really good. It's a really, really good book. I mean, for me personally, out of the 10, I would put others higher,
Mm-hmm.
but that one, Dead House, is definitely in the top 5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it is for most people, from what I've observed when people talk about. Yeah, that one, Memories of Ice, and this one are usually the big ones from the early part.
Yeah. Yeah, what surprised me in my reread, I mean, I'm not through my reread yet, but what surprised me was how much I liked Gardens of the Moon the second time.
Same. Yep.
Yeah.
I liked it way better this last time.
I think, I mean, I guess that makes sense in a way, because like when you start out, there's a lot going on and a lot of it is not explained in detail, and you can feel a little bit lost or confused or waiting for information or whatever.
I think too, though, for me, it was also that the first time I read it, I was so new to epic fantasy, and I hadn't read anything of that complexity level prior to Gardens of the Moon. So the second time rereading it, I was like, this is just, I'm enjoying these characters and having a good time with the book, because I think I'm just more like reading maturity wise there now.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think it makes a difference with Erickson, because almost everything he's doing is subverting a trope.
Mm-hmm.
It helps if you understand the tropes first.
Yes.
You know, and you understand maybe a little of what he's turning on its head.
Right.
Yeah.
I will be right back.
How's the belly of the bow, ladies?
It's great. I don't know, Anitha, do you want me to tell you what page I'm on?
Okay, tell me.
81.
Okay. Okay, I am stuck in. I don't know how you guys do it. See, I am a visual reader. I imagine in my head like every scene I read. And in
Me too.
this Parker is explaining not just how to make a bow. This guy is just hard about something, so he's experimenting a new method of making a bow, and he's frustrated it is not working out, and he's explaining in detail what he is using and what he is doing in every step, like an instruction manual. I am trying to imagine, but I have no clue about bow making. So obviously it is getting difficult and I'm stuck there. I'm not moving actually. I mean, how do you guys read and move past these kind of scenes?
I just let it go over my head because I don't care. So
But what if
I
you
also
miss
am not a I am also not a visual reader though, so
yeah, a lot of people just don't get pictures. Talk to Josh. Josh gets no pictures when he reads, and I totally cannot comprehend that. I don't get it at all. I
Yeah.
wouldn't read if I didn't get pictures.
Same,
probably.
exactly. I mean, I
Yeah.
can't read if I don't get pictures.
Yeah, I don't understand it. What is because the evolution of bow making kind of goes from stick and string. So basically, someone just makes a stick and bends it, to lamination, where they start putting layers of different woods together. And then in Asia, lamination was lamination with bone, and well, not bone, horn. They were laminating pieces of horn because horn has a really high bending rate compared to its strength. Like you can bend it a lot, but it bends back.
That's what he's talking about. So
Right.
this new guy suggested ribs, but this guy is like, horn, it's horn, not ribs. But that guy suggested, no, it's ribs. So this guy want to experiment with that. So bone
Okay.
bending is much difficult.
Bones, as far as I know, bones were never really effectively used commonly in bows because they break. Like you bend them beyond a certain point and they break, whereas horn is very flexible. And horn was like the Mongols' bows were tiny. They were like about this long, which is weird for me because I always shoot longbow, which is like, taller than me. But the Mongol bows were these tiny bows that were bent backwards. And then when you strung them, you bent them against the curve of the horn they were laminated with. And it made them super powerful to shoot on a horse. Because they're small. Like you can't shoot a longbow on a horse.
Yeah.
Because you just be banging your bow into the horse constantly. But
exactly.
A Mongol bow is so small. When you pull it, you're above the horse, because it's so bent and it's so short, Anyway.
Colton, it's very so I say that I don't visualize when I read, but it's very, very, very rarely, it depends upon the prose style, I can visualize something, but it's not like, a movie in my mind. It's like, oh, I can vaguely see what they're describing.
Man, you should read this book.
Yeah, no, I'm already you had me at it's all about bow making, right? I'm there. I'm interested. It's just a question of when. Yeah, Colton, I've talked in length to Josh about this, and I believe him. He really doesn't get pictures. He's relating to the words and not imagining pictures in his head.
I see the visual, but I don't hear anything. There's absolutely never any auditory, any input at all for me.
Oh, that's interesting.
Even with my own books, when I'm writing, it's the same thing. My audio is the playlist of music that I listen to. So like when the audiobook came out, that was the first time I'd even thought about what my characters sounded like.
Right. Yeah, we talked about this before. That to me is also kind of strange. I get like a big budget Hollywood film in my head.
That's impressive. I get the visual, but not the auditory.
I get visual, moving pictures. I get
I even say out dialogues actually.
You get what?
Dialogues. I say dialogues in my head, what they're saying.
Yeah, no, I very, very often I've had problems with audiobooks because I'd already read part of the book or part of the series. And because of that, I already had such a clear imagination of the characters' voices in my head that when I heard an audiobook, I was like, that is not what they sound like. This is wrong. I'm going to go back to reading.
I can tell when something doesn't sound quite right. Like when Andrew was sending me some voice clips for the audiobook at the beginning, and I knew what it didn't sound like. I was like, no, that's not quite right. But then he would send me one and I was like, that sounds like, I guess, what makes more sense.
KTU3, this doesn't really count. This isn't exactly what we're talking about. But it was interesting because I reread Lord of the Rings end of last year, beginning of this year, and it was the first time I'd read it where I started more than my own imaginings. I also got things that were in the movies, and it actually annoyed the fuck out of me because Lord of the Rings is mine. It's not Peter Jackson's. It's mine. When I read it, it's mine. I've read it like 15 times since I was 9 years old. And all of a sudden, this Peter Jackson's vision of it is seeping into my
You read before
imagination.
movies came out. That's nice. Cool.
I read it like 12 times before the movies came out. I'm
Anisha,
old. Have
Matt,
you
is
not
old.
noticed?
There you go.
How did you feel when you first time saw those movies?
I was a bit back and forth, but overall, I had a very positive impression. I was really nervous because, like, this was foundational literature for me. It's the first real book I can remember reading on my own, and I'd read it many times. And then I heard there was a movie coming out. I was like, "Oh, this could be awesome, or this could be a nightmare," you know. And then when they came out, I was actually pretty happy with them overall.
Nice.
If we're only talking about Lord of the Rings, Hobbit is an abomination. Oh my God, those movies are so bad.
It's so bad.
But Lord of the Rings overall,
Like there were moments. There were the thing that was so frustrating, I think, about the Hobbit films is that there were some things that made me go, the potential was here.
you could have made
there were
one
some
good
great
movie.
casting choices. There was some, but no. Okay.
Yeah, they could have made one good movie out of it, and instead they stretched it to 3 for money's sake, and they were all pretty weak, average at best. No, Lord of the Rings overall, I thought it was really good, and to me, adaptation. I am not an adaptation purist. I never look at an adaptation and think this must be just like the book, right? Because they're different media.
That's the definition of adaptation. Is
Exactly. It's a movie. It's a book. They can't be the same. It's not possible. So there were things like Arwen suddenly becoming a hero when she's pretty much non-present in the books. I was like, it totally makes sense. First of all, there's no romance in the books at all. Not even a little.
Arwen became a hero. When did she become a hero?
She saves Frodo at the ford.
She actually gets to hold a sword and everything.
Yeah,
she holds a sword. She rears her horse.
I think that was, what is it? Glorfindel was the one who.
Glorfindel, who is.
Oh my God, I don't remember. I mean, I did not realize that's not. I recently read Fellowship. I mean, recently, as in 3 years back, I read Fellowship of the Ring. I don't remember her being not there. So movies are rich in my brain.
In the books, Arwen exists.
Yeah.
She's in the appendices.
She's in the appendices, and there's like one sentence in the book that says that she and Aragorn were kind of destined to be together because blah blah blah, you know. But she's like almost not there. She like Tolkien doesn't write romance. And a movie, you need some sort of at least hint of romance somewhere. So
yeah, I think in Fellowship of the Ring, the first time we get to know of Arwen was like after these people reach Rivendell, there is some party going on. At that time, we just hear about Arwen in somebody's POV. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah, and in the books, this legendary hero since the beginning of time, basically the biggest badass elf there ever was, Glorfindel, is the one who picks up Frodo at the ford, and rides him off. You know, but yeah, Arwen. Ida is saying it. Arwen is Glorfindel. Yeah, sort of, except Glorfindel was male, and
they subbed it in to give her.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, there were some very understandable things.
Choices.
My biggest fear, honestly, was I was someone who actually knew Peter Jackson's films before Lord of the Rings, and he did Meet the Feebles, which is basically if you took the Muppets and you made them drug addicts. It's a Muppet movie, but they're all off their head. Some of them literally off their head on drugs.
So kind of like Avenue Q, but not.
I haven't seen Avenue Q, so I don't know. But
it's a R-rated adult musical with puppets.
Maybe kind of that, yeah. So Meet the Feebles, I had seen what's his zombie movie called? He's got a zombie movie where the best scene of it is a guy kills a zombie by picking up his lawnmower and dropping it on the zombie's head, and the lawnmower just goes.
Is that
from head to
That's,
toe
that
through the
scene
zombie.
sounds so familiar. Like I have seen it somewhere.
I think it's called Brain Dead, his zombie movie. And Britain's here. Hello, Britain.
Hello, everyone. It wouldn't be the pub if I wasn't here.
I guess that's true.
is it Bad Taste?
Bad Taste. Yes.
It was his first film.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'd seen pretty much all of his films because he's a Kiwi and sort of in New Zealand, Australia, local kind of thing. We had watched a lot of his films. And then I was like, whoa, you gave Lord of the Rings to that guy? Really? But he did a great job. I was very pleasantly surprised. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I was really worried. Yeah.
I need to
You
know that.
guys know Peter Jackson before he became the Peter Jackson? Oh my god. You guys are old. Sorry,
He had
that's
done-
supposed to be.
He had done 6 films, I think, before Lord of the Rings.
Heavenly Creatures with Kate Blanchett.
Heavenly
or-
Creatures is more
Blanchett,
straight kind
Winslet.
of film. I think that's the kind of film that got him Lord of the Rings more than Meet the Feebles or Bad Taste.
Speaking of Lord of the Rings, are you guys looking forward to that? What is it? War of the Rohirrim, the animated anime?
I'm not sure.
It looks interesting.
I feel
I've-
like after The Hobbit and Rings of Power.
Tori, you're very
Your
quiet.
mic is somewhere
Sorry,
else.
can
We
you hear
can't.
me now?
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
better. Yeah.
Okay.
It was stuck in your hair.
I think after Rings of Power and The Hobbit, I'm tempering my excitement for anything Lord of the Rings in the future. And if it's amazing, I'll be thrilled.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Um,
Colton. Thank you. I'm so sorry. Peter Jackson's remake of King Kong is so
King-
underrated.
It's
Yeah,
pretty
it's a
good.
good one. It's a good
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah,
I
it's
watched
good.
it recently. I do agree.
And he
but
he
that
did
movie
also
makes
do
me
The
sad.
Frighteners, as Darun says.
When King
Yeah.
Kong came out to theaters, I literally watched it. This was back in the day when they had midnight releases. I went to the a midnight release, and then I went and saw it again at 11 a.m. and then I went and saw it again at 7 p.m. Like, so
My
I saw it
goodness.
3 times within 24 hours. I love that movie so much.
I wouldn't say it's that good, but it's a good King Kong. Yeah,
It's
Yeah,
a good
for sure.
movie, but very sad movie.
of course.
I mean, when I first watched it, I told myself I'm never going to rewatch it. But I watched it recently, and I again told the same to myself. I'm never going to rewatch it. So
yeah, I
sad.
mean, we were talking about themes. Like the theme of King Kong has always been, man's not very good with nature, is he?
Man is the predator, actually.
Yeah,
Biggest
of course.
predator.
Of course, of course. Exactly.
We have different problems, but yes.
It's true. I do have different problems. Yeah. So the weird thing is I've never actually seen the original King Kong. I vaguely know of it, but I just love Peter Jackson's King Kong film.
The original King Kong had biplanes flying at him,
Yeah.
which is really cool. And
There are
all
scenes where
all this very jumpy stop motion animation with him hanging onto the building and waving at the biplanes, and
Yeah, I
and he
know
looks like
this
Play-Doh sometimes. Like
yeah,
there's
it's
a real-
very
there's a
cool
real-
actually. But
There's a real funny scene where he's fighting the pterodactyl and he picks up the lady and it's just a little Play-Doh lady. It's hilarious. I love
Yeah.
it.
I'm interested to see how Wheel of Time goes. Looked like I haven't seen the trailer. It's not surprising, maybe that I mean, I guess they've been getting enough numbers because it hasn't been canceled. I thought the first season was okay. I thought the second season. Now, this is someone who DNF'd the first book of Wheel of Time at about 200 pages. I haven't read the books. The second season felt to me like I would have enjoyed it a lot more if I had read the books, because it felt like they were referencing all sorts of stuff but not really explaining it much.
Even books run the same, actually. There is lot of reference to what happened when the old dragon was there, which we
Yeah.
don't know the details yet.
Okay, so maybe it was a relatively straight adaptation in that sense. There were a number of things I thought were really stupid about it, like individual situations or scenes that I thought were really idiotic in the show, and I don't know if they were idiotic in the books as well because I haven't read them. But there were a number of things in the show where I was like, this whole situation doesn't need to happen. You could have turned around and walked away, or you like there's an easy way to change this, and you're not doing it, you know. And it just seemed kind of stupid to me. But yeah.
I haven't watched the show yet, and I'm 5 weeks into the series. We'll see what happens.
That's a weird movie to watch since he climbs the Twin Towers in that one, and not the Empire State Building.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm just Thornall. I'm just offering a different perspective as someone who has not read and never will read the books. I just was like, it's fantasy TV. Of course, I'll at least have a look. And overall, I thought it was not bad, not great, but not bad. You know. Yeah, Daniel. I also had a feeling. Yeah, that makes sense. I can imagine that if you've read the books, from everything I've heard people talk about the books, that you wouldn't be happy with the show. And if you haven't read the books, the show is kind of confusing. Yeah. Oh, well, can't make everyone happy.
That's the thing in our society. Nobody's happy.
Sure, some people are happy.
Evie is very happy.
True.
Exactly. Max is okay. That's all it takes.
I mean, you know, like I'm not joking when I say that this past week, we'll see how long this lasts, but this past week has really changed me as a person, because I've actually been happy for people at Dragonsteel and encouraging and nice about all of the Brandon Sanders with Dragons.
I've just been yelling at Kyle to shut up.
Having fun.
I was having some serious FOMO when I watched John's video earlier today, even though I've never even read a Brandon Sanderson book.
I don't care about that. I don't care about the Sando part. Like, I just see all my friends meeting each other, and I'm like,
that's
I would like to be there. Oh, and Kyle met Robin Hobb. I'm like, yeah, I would like to do that
Fondly.
too. Yeah, exactly. And Fondly and Durfee, and
seeing Kyle's enthusiasm and his happiness in his pictures, I was like, okay, this is why I want to go to the convention, to meet friends, to meet some of her favorite authors, and, to hang around and to just see these nerds being happy. I want that experience.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally. I don't need the cult of Sando. That whole part of it, I'm just like completely not interested.
I don't need that.
I don't need any special editions that cost 3 times more than the other special editions. I
think Bookborn posted that when they had the gala at night, the dress up gala, that they had one of the characters from the Cosmere, Wit, sitting on a stool and insulting people as they came in, and I was like, immediately put me off of ever going to anything Sanderson, because first of all, I hate the character, which is an unpopular opinion within Cosmere, but also I'm like,
no, Wit's a dick.
I don't like him at all.
No,
I
don't want to be insulted by him when I walk in the room.
Or were they serious?
Yeah, making fun of people as they walk in the door. I was like,
that's what he does.
Turn around and go home.
Wait, so no, was he doing it as an act, or was it like?
Oh real? Yeah, it was an actor playing the character.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was being the character from the books.
Yeah, which is cool. Love the idea.
The character from the books is a dick who makes fun of everybody all the time.
Yeah, he's awful, and I don't understand why anyone likes him. No. I don't get it.
No, I don't either.
I don't get it. He's not funny.
No. Yeah.
Take it up with Brandon Sanderson.
Having not read Stormlight, I have no context of what you guys are saying.
That's okay.
Aslan, Anita and I are both reading Belly of the Bow by KJ Parker.
And I'm reading...
I've been kind of busy the last couple days, but I'm trying to
War
start
for Worlds
Deathless by Catherine Catherine Vellante. And
Well, I hope you like it more than I did because I don't understand the appeal of that book. Deathless.
and Absolution by Jeff Vandermeer, because I had a conversation with my friend the other night about acceptance, and I'm like, screw it, I'll just ditch the Wizard Knight and I'm going to read Absolution.
Is that the new book in that series?
Yes.
Can each of you recommend a series for 2025?
Me?
Like for you to read Thornall or the ones that we I mean, I guess recommendation by definition is like you have to have read it. So hold on.
Well, I read a book about Leningrad last year with City of Thieves, which I thought was a fantastic book. So
That's
hopefully
not a series though. That's a book.
That's not a series, but like I'm just saying, like
Thornall
Deathless.
just
I'm keeping the
said-
trend going.
I think Thornall just said he's starting Lords of Uncreation, so I won't recommend the Final Architecture.
Yeah, that was my
Um,
first thought as well.
I
That
mean,
would be my primary recommendation in general to anyone right now.
Bezleg by China Mieville. I'll go with that.
I would say in progress series, Tyrant Philosophers, because I will shout about that.
Unless you've already
series.
read Bezleg, then in that case, Dark Star Trilogy. I don't know.
Yes.
Um,
Pick up. I don't think Thornall has read City of Lost Chances.
Everyone's just straight up hating on the books I'm about to
Pick
start
up-
reading. This is not making me feel any better about
If you
starting these books.
may I?
Go.
Go, Anita.
Okay, if you want a unique magic system and a great character work, go for Long Price Quartet. And if you want a fun, it has also like good characters, good, found family and fun. Read Six of Crows.
Nice.
I forget how I always forget that I read that series.
Hello, whatever your name is, because I can't read that. Nice to see you live too. Congratulations on finishing Claw the Conciliator. That is an awesome, although confusing series.
If that is the same icon of the person who is on Discord, I think that's Team
American Gods, Ron.
Yeah, the Steam, I think.
So.
Ron, I recommend Guns of the Dawn for epic standalone.
Of course you do.
City of Thieves is fantastic, Aslan.
Like I could have done that. Someone says, "What should I read?" And I'll say, "Wait a sec. I'll answer for Anitha. First of all, have you read Long Price Quartet? Second of all, read Guns of the Dawn. Even if you've read Guns of the Dawn, buy Guns of the Dawn again, so that we get a sequel." Anitha out.
So, to go back to Thornall's question, Thornall, I can't remember one if you like horror stories, and two if you've already read this, but I finished the Indian Lake trilogy by Stephen Graham Jones this year, and I think it is one of the best trilogies, like probably ever, especially for, like slashers. Yeah, right there, Britain.
Oh no, Ron said he has read American Gods. I'm disappointed. My recommendation just fell flat.
Well, I mean, it still works if you do a recommendation.
Yeah, I would agree with Colton, although I haven't read it. I read Robert McCammon for the first time this year, basically because Colton was annoying me for months. And Evie and I read Boy's Life together, and it was awesome. And I've got Speaks the Nightbird, which is the first book in the Matthew Corbett series.
That's
and
a
I'm
fantastic
looking
book.
forward to reading it, although I haven't gotten to it yet.
I think didn't
So-
the last book just last week get released?
I think so.
I think so.
Yeah.
It's Indian Lake trilogy by Stephen Graham Jones.
It's the slasher one.
Thornall, you've read Hyperion, haven't you? I mean, if you're looking for science fiction, Terra Ignota by Ada Palmer. Read the fuck out of that because it's so good. Hyperion, if you haven't read it, which is 4 books, not 2, not 1. 4 books. Read all 4 of them because they're also awesome. Even if Dan Simmons is apparently a bit of a right-wing nutjob these days, but the books are awesome. But yeah, like Hyperion was my absolute top favorite science fiction for over 30 years until I read Terra Ignota. And then I was like, maybe I need to rethink this top science fiction thing. Terra Ignota is really, really good. Really, really good. Yeah.
But yes,
Corey, did you recommend one?
Not yet. I'm getting my leg punctured by cat claws at the moment. So my recommendation is actually a book that I just recently finished because the second book is coming out in February and it's going to be just a trilogy. So it should be pretty soon that it'll finish. And that is By Blood, by Salt by J.L. Odom. It's a SPIFFO finalist this year, and it is easily one of the best indie books I have ever read. It is so good. So good. So
yes, I
book
saw you
two's coming
gushing
out in
about it on
February.
your channel the other day.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw it as
cool.
well, and I was like, "What is she talking about? I've never heard of this
so good.
book."
So
Okay.
good.
You read like a passage. I'm like, damn, she's cooking. I gotta
Her
check it out.
prose, you guys, like there's good books and then there's really good books, and her prose is so good. I was having so much fun with it.
Everyone, as Peter says, everyone should start Wars of Light and Shadow in January. I will probably, we're still working it out, but I will probably be working out another Sunday Pub special edition with Jenny Wirtz and me and 3 other people in January.
Get the squad
Anyone who
together.
doesn't know, Talking Story, Mr. Minton, is primarily hosting a read-along of Wars of Light and Shadow starting in January. Fitz is here. For anyone who
Fitzy.
wants to see Fitz. Hello, Fitz.
If it's
The Bobcat is here.
Look at the camera. Yeah. She
Listen,
hates it.
I had a choice between Wars of Light and Shadow and oh my god.
Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn.
Yeah, there you go. I totally had a brain fart on the name of the series, and I chose the latter. So
Yeah. I knew that starting it. We'll see how it is. I have the first book. I haven't looked at it. I read To Ride Hell's Chasm by her. I liked it, but had some problems with it.
It's funny you guys brought that up. I think Nerd Level Rising is streaming with her right now. So
Okay.
yeah.
So I'm a little. We'll see. I'm giving it at least the first book.
I may taste test Curse of the Mistwraith in January, but honestly, if I start Wars of Light and Shadow, I will never catch up on Malazan. It will never happen. So
That's
I
true.
need to focus on that first.
I'm
Yeah.
starting Malazan next year.
I will highly recommend that you continue with Malazan because you really need to finish that shit sometime.
And I know that I love it. So I'm like,
Mm.
I want to keep going with a series I love.
It's
Do you
so good.
do you
And
do you
it
highly
only gets
recommend that I start it, Matt?
Do you have a PhD in asking stupid questions?
Well, I wanted to get your reaction. So
Yes. Start Malazan. Anyone out there who hasn't started Malazan, hasn't at least tried to read Malazan, you should at least try. I understand it's a very not for everyone kind of series. No judgment, totally fine. But I think everyone owes it to themselves to at least try it. And maybe become a fan. It's been so much fun watching Josh go up and down with Malazan, and now like his latest vlog, I was actually cheering. I was like, Josh is a Malazan. Yes.
I thought we lost him on, was it
Yeah.
Deadhouse Gates that he DNF'd?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Memories of Ice, I think.
I think it was Memories of Ice. Yeah. It
Yeah.
was Memories of Ice, and he was working a lot at the time and
Yeah.
just wasn't getting into it. And
That's
then,
the thing. If you can't put like actual attention into those books, it's not
Yeah.
going to be a fun time.
yeah. And then on the latest one, where is he? House of Chains, I think. Yeah. He's he just finished House of Chains recently, and he's like super into it. And he's reading Night of Knives even next instead of going straight into Midnight Tides. So he's yeah.
Cool.
Urza, she is reading Deadhouse Gates.
Well,
like the third time.
technically, I'm rereading up to. I've read everything up to Midnight Tides. So once I get to Midnight Tides, that will be like first time read.
Have you also read Night of Knives?
I have not read anything S. Lamont.
You may want to read that between House of Chains and Midnight Tides.
I'm not opposed to that.
Yeah, it's pretty small, like compared to other Malazan novels. It's pretty small,
why does
but it gives you some background that is kind of good to know.
I will buy it.
Yeah.
Tharnal, that's a great History of the World Part 1 reference. I appreciate that. And I appreciate you.
Excuse me?
The B. Arthur question.
Ah,
Have you read Malazan last week? Have you tried to read Malazan last week? It's a reference to History of the World Part 1. B. Arthur plays a unemployment office worker, and Mel Brooks is a stand-up philosopher. She's like, oh, so you're a bullshit artist. Have you tried to bullshit this week? Did you try to bullshit this week? Because he's trying to get his unemployment renewed or whatever.
right.
It's great. Go watch that movie. It's fantastic.
My dad really likes that film.
Colton, why are you talking crack? What?
Yeah, I think because he knows I like Conan, or at least the original Robert E. Howard Conan.
Yeah,
story.
I mean,
I
Yeah, but
think,
you gotta earn your way to House of Chains. Don't start with it.
you can't start with Casa. That's
no,
just
you
like
don't do it.
that's totally.
Would I be really confused if I got into House of Chains? That's what I need to know.
It just, I mean, the first 4 chapters, the bit that Colton is talking about, can almost be taken for a story by itself. Right? It's not that connected yet to anything else. So you theoretically could read it, but it's not connected to anything else. And I think the experience of reading Malazan is reading what, 3 books, and then getting this bit about Casa and being like, what the fuck? Where am I? What's going on? I think that experience is valid. And
Well, it ties
important.
in with some things in Dead House Gates also.
Yeah, a lot of stuff with Casa ties into a lot of things, but the very beginning of Casa doesn't tie into anything that much, you know. Anyway, no, I would say do not listen to Colton. Cute idea, but wrong. Read Guns of the Moon, like everybody else, because it's awesome.
I am not planning to start any long series in 2025. I'm going to, I mean, I have so many like small series to finish, and I'm going to focus on them and catch up on my buddy reads and catch up on the commitments.
I'd like to not start any new series as well. I think
I am going to read a good few pre-Tolkien fantasy.
Oh,
it's gonna be
so
fun.
no series.
Well, I am starting Gormenghast next year.
Oh right, yeah.
So that counts as a series.
True.
It's a trilogy though.
Yeah. I would like to. I'm not making any promises, but I would like to finish Realm of the Elderlings finally. Maybe
You haven't
next year.
finished Realm of Elderlings?
I've read everything once at least. Some of them twice or 3 times now. But except for the last trilogy.
Okay.
So, and I'm doing a reread right now, which is, like I said, second read on some of them, third read on some of them. And I'm reading Rainwall Chronicles next. So that's a second read. And then I'll get to the last trilogy. And then I've read all of them. And she's got 2 more books coming sometime soon-ish, maybe, which is cool. What else have I got open as far as series? Black Company. I want to continue Black Company. I want to finish what's available in Tyrant Philosophers. I would like to finish LPQ finally so that Anitha can finally act like she likes me. I'd like to finish Amber again, but that's like a 4th or 5th reread.
I would like to start LPQ so Anitha can start acting like she likes me.
Evie, if you start LPQ and read the first one, when you get to the second one, we could read it together.
Please don't rely on her. I don't believe her. I don't trust her. You start.
Listen,
Go ahead, Matt.
Wait, I thought you were on like the 3rd or 4th book, Matt.
I read the first one with Joanna, and then she raced through the rest, and I had a depressive month or 2.
Oh, that was when
dropped
that
out.
happened. Okay.
Yeah.
My plan is actually I read first 2 books in Dagger and Coin and never continued, which I loved so much. So I'm going to restart Dagger and Coin with Sarah and finish that. But before that,
It was Zara or Sarah?
Sarah,
Okay.
new Canada one.
Canada
My
one.
yes and
Canada one.
I say both names same, so you can differentiate no matter how many times I repeat. And April, the third book in the Kitama trilogy is coming out, so I may read that first. Actually, start with Age of Ash in January. So both series by Daniel Abraham, and I can finally, after 2 years of putting it on my TBR, I want to get to Butler's Xenogenesis trilogy.
It's fantastic.
Dawn is the first book, and I was going to film a video where I'm listing entire series. Anyway, that's my plan. All short series. Like
I
short
can
trilogy.
just send you the recording of this live, and you can cut out yourself
Actually, that is a good idea.
and just blow it up into
Yeah, that is a good
larger
idea.
video. Yeah, easy. You're
That's
done.
the start of your spreadsheet, Evie.
Don't need
Rogue,
problems there, Anitha. So
Rogue, good to see you, mate. I assume you're talking to me. Memory Sore and Thorn is on hold until the read along, which starts in January, gets up to Green Angel Tower, which I think is March. And then when they get to where I am now, I will continue with them, only in a much prettier edition, because I've got the broken binding editions coming in one by one. And by then I'll have all four.
Timu, who may not actually be Timu, and I'm so sorry. Please correct me if I'm mistaken. I haven't read Conan. I actually want to, but I love the Elric series. Like,
Do you
recommend-
it depends on what you want, because they're both really good as far as sword and sorcery goes. If you want sweaty meathead cutting through hordes and hordes of got people in his way, that's Conan.
If you want barbarian Conan, if you want magic,
emo, mopey, sad boy who can do amazing magic with demons and has a sword that eats souls, that's Elric.
Yeah.
Right? So they are both very different style, although they were written quite similar time. They have extremely different style.
No, Robert E. Howard was like the 20s or 30s, right?
That's right.
He's the 30s.
Conan's much older. Elric is kind of an anti-Conan reaction.
Yeah.
70s,
80s.
They were both written a while ago. Put it that way.
I was gonna say Conan, because Conan really defined sword and sorcery as a subgenre.
Yeah, but Elric expanded it quite a lot and went in a totally different direction. It depends on what you want.
And also, just so you're prepared, if you do read Elric, it gets freaking weird, like psychedelic weird. So, which, to be fair, again, it was written in the 60s, 70s, 80s.
Weird is a big, wide spectrum. What do you mean by weird?
It's, if you imagine tripping out on drugs, but in book form.
Yes, Ron, that is a pretty reductive take on Conan. I know, I was joking, of course, but it's kind of the core of what Conan is. And it was also a pretty reductive take on Elric.
True.
Coming to, do you guys want to talk about standalones or single books or only series?
Let's talk about standalones too. Let's do it.
Okay. I have.
Maybe Anitha, everyone should read Guns of the Dawn.
Yes, thank you. I'm coming.
That would be an idea.
Yes. Has anyone talked about Guns of the Dawn yet?
Yeah, how does everyone feel about reading Guns of the Dawn? Specifically, buying multiple copies of Guns of the Dawn to inspire Mr. Tchaikovsky to write, or actually inspire his publisher to let him write a sequel. Go on, Anitha.
Our friend Matt here he's planning to host Guns of the Dawn Buddy Read. It may probably happen in February, so please plan for that, everyone. And I will be rereading that along with Matt. And
wait, what was it? Sorry, February? I'm sorry. I can't read and listen at the same time, apparently.
I was writing in it just sort of came up today that I think Anitha, enough people are scared of Anitha that there's kind of we probably need to read Guns of the Dawn or Anitha might kick our asses kind of feeling going around. So I said in the Fireside Discord today, I think, hey, what about a read along and make it a little bigger? And how about February? Because I know I'm starting a chunky Wirtz in January. But Guns of the Dawn maybe in February, and Anitha wants to reread it, and some other people want to read it, and Ida says she's already started. So yeah,
Yay, thank you. Ida, please post your thoughts in. Are you in Discord? Fireside Discord? I'm not sure.
she is.
Yeah, you can post there. I'll check. You can tag me, or Matt kindly tags me anyone if they mention Guns of the Dawn. I'm very grateful for that. Anyway, I want to buddy read another book with you.
Matt or
With me or with
With
Evie.
Matt or Evie may join as well. Up to you. I don't want to spoil a surprise.
So it has to be with me, and Evie, you just don't care, maybe, if
It's
she
true.
wants to.
I'm not allowed to buddy read anything with Anitha anymore.
Yeah,
Okay.
Anyway, sorry, Anitha, go ahead.
I
Enough
don't want to
for today.
spoil the surprise. You will receive that book soon. Okay.
Ah,
Anyway,
you will also receive a book soon.
okay. Thank you. Tori is not here. I have 2 buddy reads planned with her.
Oh,
With Evie, I don't have any buddy read scheduled with Evie.
I
Nothing.
also.
Our buddy reads keep getting pushed off because neither of us are in the right headspace at the right time to actually start something.
Actually, don't forget to let me know when you guys start East of Eden, which I want to read.
That's not
And-
going to be in January. It's probably going to be over the summer.
Yeah, my January is packed. So I was very glad actually when Matt mentioned February, because I would have said no if he had said January. It was packed. Tori, we need to schedule And There Were None by Agatha Christie and Curse of Chalian by
Yes.
Beaufort.
Yes.
So
Curse of Chalian is good. I went through a phase like 10, 20 years ago where I was like, I don't know if I've ever read a fantasy book written by a woman. And that seems kind of stupid. So I went out and found some. And Lois McMaster Bujold was one of them I found, and she is awesome. I also read a bunch of her science fiction. For Kozigan Saga or
nice.
Cycle or whatever it's called is also really, really good.
My-
So much fun.
My plan is to start. I want to read her sci-fi as well, but this year I'll start with Curse of Chalian. If I like it, I'll continue and finish it off that fantasy, and then 2026 I may read her sci-fi.
So, Matt, you know how on BookTube it's very popular these days to do those vlogs that's like, this vlog doesn't end until I find a 5-star read? I feel like you
Is
and
it?
I need to do a version of that where it's like, this vlog, collective vlog, does not end until we find a 5-star buddy read.
It might take some time.
I mean,
We're not doing so great so far.
It's been fun though.
Yeah, sure.
Well-
I mean, I loved rereading Black Company.
I'm gonna finish it. I am gonna finish it.
Yeah, please do. It's really
I
good.
will. I'm going to.
It's really good. Although, if you considering your reaction so far to the first book, I don't know if you should continue.
No, I'm going to finish the first book because
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
gotten
yeah.
halfway through it. So I'm going to finish the first book.
Yeah.
But yeah.
you DNF'd the first Fritz Leiber book, didn't you, as well? Or did you finish
No,
that one?
I read
She
the
actually-
entire book.
Forced herself all the way through it.
And my final opinion, which is incredibly unpopular in certain circles, is that I would rather read A Court of Thorns and Roses again than read that book again. So that's my official final opinion of it.
Yeah, I didn't dislike it quite that much, but I realized how much of it I loved because I read it the first time when I was a teenager,
Yeah.
and I didn't have any feeling for writing good characters or writing women that weren't totally just
Cardboard
annoying
cutouts.
props. Or yeah, exactly.
Can I continue?
Please.
Yes.
I have a list. I still
Got the
again.
planner
I
out.
need
And
to
you
film a
have
video.
and you have to get through the entire list on
I'll
the
not.
pub.
I'll not mention entire list. I'll film a video of 25 books to read in 2025. That is a different one.
Is
But
it going to come out in 2025?
no, hopefully it will come out.
I love you. I love you. I love you, Anita. Don't kill me.
See, this is why people,
Mm.
you all, these people tell me that I'm scary. See, this is why. They inside.
Actually, the only person that said anything of it, Beck said she's terrified of Evie. She says she wants to do whatever you say, Anitha, but she's terrified of Evie.
Nobody is terrified of Evie.
Bex apparently is. I don't know. I don't understand it. I think Evie's super nice. I'm not terrified of Anitha, but she is a bit of a bully sometimes.
I am the opposite of bully. I don't bully people. I get bullied.
It's true.
How many
Finish your list, Anitha.
how many
I'm sorry, am I
streams have I
listening
been
to
on?
Anitha or Alan here? I'm not sure who.
How many
who's on
streams
screen
have I
right
been
now.
on where Anitha said at least 3 times, "Buy Guns of the Dawn"?
That is not bullying. That is asking people to buy. I mean, recommending a fantastic book where people enjoy it. That is like charity work. How is it bullying?
It's more of a tone of voice thing. I think.
Proselytizing.
Yeah, spreading the good word.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, Evie, we have Devourers. I forgot the other name.
Which what?
This one.
I thought you had a list.
Evie sent me this book. Like long
Oh,
ago,
the
very-
Devourers by Indra Dus.
The
Yep.
Devourers. Right.
It's very short book.
Yeah.
Like
With a nicely illustrated cover.
yeah,
Yes, I love that cover.
I've seen it
less
before. I know
than
nothing
300
about it.
pages. Less than 300 pages.
Okay. Always nice.
And this is set in India.
And
Okay.
it's a werewolf
Also cool.
story, apparently, at least according to the premise. So
Hold on, I need
Don't
to check this out.
Indian werewolves.
I'm here. I'm listening.
Yeah. You just banged really hard on 2 of Tori's keywords.
Yeah, that
I-
woke Tori up.
yeah, I really, really, really liked. I still think about the story that Indra Das wrote for
Mythic Dream.
Yeah, his story was amazing in there. But anyways, continuing, Anitha. What's next on the list?
We also need to read Independence by Chitra Banerjee
Sure.
Divakruni. Those two with you. And I am also, we have to read This Is How You Lose Time War also.
Yes, when are we going to read that? Because I'm waiting. Because it's gonna be a reread for me, so I can do it whenever.
I'll let you know.
It's very short.
I just bought a
And-
Kindle version of The Devourers, by the way.
Dun dun dun.
Are you joining us?
I'm not going to promise that because I'm trying to not be so structured next year, but I might.
Okay.
Didn't you see her video, Anitha?
I did see her video.
See, this is the problem with us doing a buddy read, Anitha, is that you're trying to be more structured and I'm trying to be less structured. So when you're like, we need to schedule this, I'm like, no.
Okay, my final book I'm going to mention, then I'll shut up. I am going to
I'll believe it when I see it.
I'm going to try to ride Hell's Chasm. I am terrified of
Ooh.
it, but I want to try it.
I'm offended and hurt personally, professionally, spiritually, all of the things.
With you only. I know it is on your list of 40 before
No,
40.
that you didn't mention all those books. I
I-
still haven't read Spear Cuts Through Water. I'm just saying. Just saying.
That is true. A very notable omission.
A very
my
kind
spare-
and
my
wonderful
spare won't
person
cut the
sent
water.
you that book.
We will
To,
see.
to answer Bex, I know I answered you in chat, but no, I haven't read Poor Things yet, nor watched the movie. I'm
Ah.
so sorry.
Okay.
And Tharnal, my ranking of the second half of 2024 reads will probably be in the first week of January, if not the second week of January. I have
See,
to
this-
finish 2024 first before I even do that.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Amen.
Thank
this
you.
is so annoying to me. Everyone's putting out their best of the year now, and I'm like, I only believe you if you are swearing to not read a book between now and January.
I got asked to be in a collab video where I had to turn in my favorite book of 2024 by the 10th of December. I was like, dude, I might read 4 books, 5 books more before the end of the
But
year
what
after
if,
that.
see, what if you already know that the books you are going to read are not going to be your favorites?
Like if they're
I-
rereads or something, I can understand
I don't feel like
that.
that's fair to the like. I don't want to go into a book assuming, well, this isn't going to be as good. Like,
I've already done my best of the year video, so I'm only going to read the things on my TBR that I know are kind of crap after
Yeah.
that video.
Why?
No, I'm
No.
not interested in
I
having.
know I get
anything.
less views because I put my video out after the end of the year. I don't care.
What is that
Yeah.
a thing that?
Oh yeah,
Totally.
Yeah.
How? I mean, why does it matter whether you put
because
before?
people have moved on to the next like focus time thing
Yeah.
trend. So
In January, you're meant to be doing the best books coming up in 2025 video.
I don't even know what books are coming out in 2025. I've paid zero. I'm so behind. I have no idea.
Nothing in my reading has anything to do with what's coming out.
Nope.
I
Everyone,
usually know too late that there's a new book.
I know one book
What?
where people are talking. Everyone is talking about that book, Devils.
True.
Forever.
I have seen a lot of talk about that. Mike just did a video about it and was complaining that everyone was kind of pissed off by him already reading it, which is hilarious because booktubers get arcs all the time. But yeah.
Speaking of arcs, this is what I'm excited to read in January. I'm so excited. Because Leslie from the Nerdy Narrative, I was planning on reading it in January anyways, because now that I've finished I Was a Teenage Slasher and I don't have that guilt hanging over my head. She messaged me, she's like, I got an arc, you want to read it in January? And I'm like, yes. Let's do.
I, Thornall, am not up to date on Dresden yet. I started a reread of it a while ago because they're good in-between books. They're light and funny in comparison to a lot of the stuff I read. But I have not gotten up to date yet, so I don't really care if there's a new one coming out because I'm not going to read it even when it comes out. But we'll see. House of Chains. Colton thinks Evie would even un-DNF Malazan if she read the beginning of House of Chains.
Yeah, y'all were talking about Gardens of the Moon. I'm
Maybe?
like, oh yeah, I reread Gardens of the Moon. I'm like, I reread Gardens of the Moon. I DNF'd it.
Finish?
So
Yeah, I remember you DNF'd
Yeah.
that reread.
I love Evie dearly, but I've given up. She is a lost cause.
listen,
as far
this
as the
is
good
my
word
one
of
flaw,
Malazan goes.
apparently. So this,
Yeah.
you gotta give
we
me
can't
one.
we can't all be perfect, you know.
No,
You
no,
gotta
no.
give me one.
Yeah,
flaw.
no. Everybody's got some sort of a flaw, and
Is that
Evie's
your
is
favorite series?
Malazan. Is it
Is
what?
that your favorite series ever?
Me?
All-time favorite? Yeah.
Absolutely. No question. It redefined fantasy for me. Like I read Malazan and I was like, I have to reevaluate what I think is good in fantasy and what I
Yep.
want
Wow.
in fantasy, because everything else I've ever read does not compare to this in so many different ways that it's hard for me. I mean, it immediately was like top. And then I was like, oh my God, what does that mean for Tolkien and Robin Hobb? And yeah, they're just not quite as good for me. For me.
Wow.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Of
I mean,
course
I've
you'd
only
agree.
read
I know.
4 books.
I know.
I've only read 4 books, and it's my favorite series. Like,
Yeah.
so
I always laugh when Tori says it's her favorite series because I'm like, you are going to be such a Malazan fan when you finish the series. If
Well,
after 4 books you're already like, this is better than
that
everything.
is the series that made me want to be an epic fantasy writer by itself. Like, and it wasn't my first epic fantasy series, but that is the reason I'm writing epic fantasy largely.
See, I
Yeah.
have a plan to film a video next year, like all popular long series. I have 6. Ask for people to suggest me what to pick next. I think I already know your words.
Yeah, read Malazan. Yeah.
See, just
I-
trade her, Matt. She's, you read Guns of the Dawn for Anitha, and she can read Malazan Book of the Fallen.
There you go.
Excuse me.
No,
Guns
no
of the
Guns
Dawn.
of the Dawn read along until you start Guns of the Moon.
Guns of the Dawn is a standalone, like 600-page standalone. That is not a fair trade. Don't.
Guns of
This is
the
why
Guns of the
people-
Moon is only about 600 pages. It's maybe 700 or 800, but still, it's not that much longer than Guns of the Dawn.
The trade paperback is 488 pages.
There you go. I've got
So
the
it's
mass
shorter.
markets. Yeah, it's shorter than Guns of the Dawn.
Guns of the Dawn.
I will
So
not be reading trade paperback, obviously, because
I'm
they
not
are
telling you. I'm not telling you to read all of Malazan and then I'll read Guns of the Dawn. I'm saying start. Gardens of the Moon, the first book.
I will do that in 2026. My 2025, I made a vow to myself not to start, not to get tempted.
Well, I guess our Guns of the Dawn read-along's just gonna have to wait.
That's Tori. I blame you for this.
Oops.
Tori's Chaos Goblin face. I love it.
Anita, I'm pretty sure we could manage to get you a trade paperback if you're going to read Gardens of the Moon. I don't think that would be
Sorry about that.
It's also
my
irrelevant. It
deadline
has
is
just as many
something.
words in it. It just has more pages because the pages are smaller or bigger. It has less. Like, yeah.
That's right.
Jesus.
Sarnell's not wrong, though.
Yeah, exactly. But we're here to help you. If you start reading Gardens of the Moon, I will be texting with you happily every day if you want.
Sorry.
Explaining things.
All right.
And I've already done a couple of videos explaining things in Gardens of the Moon as well. So
Sorry, I keep going away. My dad is a massive pain in the ass.
all right. Hope he's not watching.
Probably not.
Unlikely, yeah. Malazan is so huge. True.
They're 10
But-
big boy. They're 10 thick boys. I mean,
But
Okay, I can say this.
probably knock somebody out with a Malazan book.
yeah, easily. I think the Bone Hunters, I could kill a human with it. Yeah.
If I get out of this slump I am in, if my reading is back to at least what it was 2 years before, if I finish at least 70% of my goals in the first half of the year, I will try Gardens of the Moon in second half of the year.
You heard it here first.
Write it
Sworn,
down.
signed in blood. Yeah. No, I strongly recommend that everyone at least give it a try because there is pretty much everything I like about any of my other favorite fantasy stuff, like Tolkien for world building and Hobb for characters and all interesting magic from LPQ and all of these different things. They're all at once in Malazan. That's the thing that really sets it apart for me. Is it's insanely well written. It's got characters that I absolutely love. It's got magic that is super cool, that is not over explained. Thank you, Sando. It's like unbelievable world building. Like the only world building I've ever run into that feels like it's more than Tolkien. It's not in more detail necessarily. Like I don't think he invented complete languages or anything like Tolkien did, but there's just so much world in Malazan. It's really, really good. Really, really good.
Well, if I recall right, I think Steven Erickson's is he an anthropologist or
Archaeologist.
Archaeologist.
Yeah.
So he
only
wasn't a linguist or philologist.
No, exactly. So he didn't go inventing
I'm
languages,
only
but he
worried
invented a lot
about
of
one
history.
thing actually about starting Malazan. I'm not worried about world building. I mean, I do have, or at least I think I have. I'm delulu enough to think I have the patience enough to sit and understand, try and put effort. But I want to know like how much violence is there in it because it is military
A lot.
fantasy.
Yeah, we can. I mean, Anita, if you're worried about that and you want some like content warning stuff, I'm happy to share from the ones that I've read.
Okay. If I'm going to start
Yeah.
before that, I'll message you.
Yeah.
Because
There's-
there is a lot of violence in it.
Yeah.
The thing
Yeah.
that
And some of it is hard to take.
It is very hard to take, and I would actually say the beginning of House of Chains is like some of the worst of it. But one of the things I appreciate is that the content exists in the books. The way that Erickson, at least in the 4 that I've read, handles it, I appreciate so much more than most of the authors that I've read.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it is there for sure.
There is some pretty horrific violence, and actually I think it's worse later in the series in books you haven't gotten to, Tori.
That's something that I am kind of worried about, to be honest.
Yeah. But the thing at least for me that really makes a difference is if you feel like the author is in any way glorifying it, that's icky. If you feel that it's gratuitous, it doesn't need to be there, that's icky. And Erickson isn't doing those things. Like there are very clear reasons for it to be there, and it's very clear he thinks it's horrible.
Okay.
Right? And he's putting it in to make clear that these people are doing horrible things. You know,
Yeah,
it's very understandable, I think, when it's there.
I think it was, is it Toll the Hounds? I think Ben from Overly Average Ben just finished, and he was talking about it in his November wrap up, and he was saying how this entire book like has scenes that are very challenging, that are, you know, make light of things, and then there's a scene at the end that makes it like, oh, you thought that this was funny, this is the reality. And he said that he's like, so I understand people that like are totally put off by this book, and at the same time, like, he appreciates the way that Erickson did it, even though like it's very uncomfortable to read, even for him.
Yeah, it's funny that Tori and I are such good friends and that we keep doing buddy reads together, because I have the thickest of skins and I'm a straight white guy, you know, so like a lot of things that come up in books that bother a lot of people, I don't even notice. There are points in some of Malazan where I was sitting there going, this is hard. Which to me means Erickson wrote it in such a way that even someone as insensitive as me got the point, which is, I think, actually quite a feat. And he handled it in such a way that it felt like it was presenting a reality in the world, and it didn't feel like he was enjoying making me uncomfortable, or that he was enjoying the violence, writing the violence himself, or anything like that. So it depends. I mean, if you just can't take violence, there are some very hard scenes, no question.
I don't say I can't take violence, but it depends on how it was explored. I need to understand the motivations behind it and how it was handled. That is very important to me, because
Go ahead, Anita.
I used to think I don't like grimdark actually, but then I started reading KJ Parker. I mean, we don't see, at least in standalones, Company and the Hammer, there is no, we don't see the violence, but the characters, they are definitely like morally gray characters, anti-hero types. The decisions they make, the choices they make, everything that those can be classified as grimdark. And when it comes to Engineer Trilogy, that is more clearly grimdark. Actually, I definitely struggled, but at the same time, I can't say that it's not for me. Parker's writing I definitely enjoyed. So it definitely depends on how it was handled for me.
Yeah.
I'm a bit different.
From that, I would say you'll probably be fine with Erickson.
Gardens will be fine. I will be very curious to see your take, Anita, on a character storyline that goes starts in Deadhouse Gates. But yeah, I think Erickson, what I really appreciate about Erickson is that he's very honest in his portrayal of reality. But it never feels gratuitous to me, and I actually feel like he explores some things that other authors kind of shy away from, that are some of the harder parts of these experiences, and he just handles it in a very honest and open way and lets the characters feel what they're feeling, whether that's the pretty, like, TED Talk package or not. And I appreciate that a lot.
I
Long
am
name I can't
reading.
pronounce is asking about the man and woman dynamics of Malazan. This is actually really interesting, and I've heard Steve talk about this, and I think it's such a super cool idea. He said one of the very basic ideas for him about writing a fantasy series was that if you had magic in a world and everyone could do it, the power dynamic between men and women would have to completely change, because, like, in our world, or at least up until we got into a more civilized culture, the power dynamic has always been based on men are bigger and more physically imposing, more physically capable of doing especially violent things, and therefore they could be boss, And if the person sitting next to you is female, but she's a total kick-ass mage and she can ruin you and 100 of your friends just by thinking about it, that dynamic is completely different. So Malazan is extremely, to the point where I didn't even notice at first. There is no sexism. There are some cultures that come later in the book which are much more physical and don't really have magic doesn't really play a role in their lives, and they are much more, men are horrible to women, horrible things happen to women because the women
There are
can't protect themselves.
characters, like
And
there
there
are
are specific
characters
characters.
that are,
Yeah.
but not as a general rule.
But it's
at
the
all.
whole broad spectrum. Like
Right.
the army, which is sort of the main character through the entire series, is a mix of men and women. Like the soldiers are male and female, and some of the baddest badasses are female.
Officers.
Or officers, or like the actual top officer, the empress of the entire empire, and so on. So the general dynamic is very equal, and then in specific cases, there's cases of women being treated very badly, certainly, but it's much more on a character by character basis. I was just thinking, should we get in another sprint? How do we feel about another sprint?
Yeah, I was actually just typing that I'm gonna actually have to drop because I have to feed the doggo. So, and it takes
Give Max a big hug from us.
Yes. And this is not Max, obviously, but George has currently got her face shoved into a catnip toy, so she's getting high.
I will do another sprint, but I will drop soon, maybe like 15-20 minutes after.
Okay. Let's go until the hour, and then I will also call it, I think, at 11 my time, because that's late. Mute yourselves and enjoy your reads, and see you later, Evie.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for the chat, and bye.
Bye, Anita. Hello.
How's it going?
Not bad.
Well, I guess it's just you and me now, man.
It is, and soon it will be none.
And then there were none.
Exactly.
It's a book.
I need to get going because it's late here. Thank you, everyone who joined on screen. Thank you, everyone in the chat. It has been an absolute pleasure as always. Important, and I will post this also on the Discord. Next weekend, I'm out of town, so there will be no Sunday pub, at least not on my channel. So you'll have to survive for 2 weeks somehow, and then we'll get back to pubbing. Yes, Ida, there will be another pub before Christmas, just not next weekend. The weekend after that, there should be a pub. So we'll see about future pubs and exactly when and how they are and all of that soon. But yeah, next week, don't forget no pub. And
That works out.
otherwise,
I'll be in Florida.
there you go. Otherwise, I'll see everybody again in 2 weeks. Have a great time until then. Read awesome books. Have a good 2 weeks.